I think one of the hardest things about letting go of something is usually you want to let go of it because you know on the other side of letting go are all these things that you're going to gain. But in the letting go of that, there's things that you have to lose in the process. And even though the stuff that you're going to lose isn't nearly as amazing as the stuff that you're going to gain, it can still be scary because there's this uncertainty, this unknown that you're entering into. And without that guarantee of, yes, 100%, you're getting this, it can be hard to let go and say goodbye to what was because there's a part of you that's still attached to it and that feels safety in that because the unknown is scary and it is the unknown. We don't know. And at the same time, it's really important for us to rise above the fear and trust in the fact that when we let go of something that is lesser, it does give us the space to expand into what is higher, what is more. In fact, I was reflecting on where I was a year ago the past few days, and I realized I had to let go of so many things to become the person that I am now, to have achieved the things that I have achieved this year, and to reach future goals, and the continual process of letting go and releasing what is no longer serving me so that I can make room for what is and what will serve me. Hi, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. So this video is all about letting go, and I've done videos in the past about letting go, but this is actually a very personal video for me of what I've let go a year ago today to get to where I am today. And as I said earlier, I was reflecting on the past few days, like where I was in my life, emotionally, physically, mentally, and I was remembering how there was a span of maybe like 3 to 5 days where I was processing the fact that I needed to let go of my ex. One of my exes. Well, I had let go of the previous ex before him, but you get the point. I had known for a while that I needed to let go of him, and I feel like I was going back and forth with him for the past 6 months, maybe even a year, of just like, we're in the relationship, we're not in the relationship, we're broken up, we're together. There's a lot of back and forth, and I had finally reached my breaking point over the span of 5 days where we weren't in the relationship. I didn't want to get back together. I knew I didn't want to get back together. There was no part of me that wanted to get back together with him, but I was still contemplating, like, do I keep a friendship? Do I keep the lines open? Do we see each other again? And on the last day I saw him, which was this day a year ago, August 1st, I was dropping him off at the train station in New York City, and a part of me knew that this was it. Like, I was letting him go fully and completely, and I didn't even fully realize at the time. It was totally subconscious, but I knew deep down, like, this is the last time we're gonna see each other, or at least like in this state, in this situation, in this time in our lives of being back and forth, together, not together, in a relationship, exes, friends, whatever we were doing. I knew it was the last time for me, for us, deep down, but consciously, no, I wasn't really sure. And it came at the perfect timing. It was like divinely orchestrated because he was going away to Europe for 2 weeks. And I realized over the course of my life that it takes me 2 weeks to detox from a person, to completely move on physically, emotionally, spiritually. If I am not in contact, if I am not seeing them, if I am not trying to keep it together, it takes me 2 weeks to let go and move on. So he went away. We ended up texting those 2 weeks because I was still on the fence about it, but I knew that this was the moment that I needed to let it go. So actually it ended up that on his last day in Europe, we had a phone call, and he told me the truth about something that I couldn't accept. Of course, I could forgive him and move on, but I couldn't accept him staying in my life and even being my friend after what he had told me that he had done. So I think we texted maybe a day or so after he had told me what he had told me. He had gotten back from Europe, and then a few days later we stopped texting completely, and we've never spoke since. And the crazy thing was, it was so hard for me to let go of this person and this relationship and our dynamic, even though I knew deep down it was really unhealthy for me and for him. We just did not have a positive, healthy, supportive dynamic. It was very much the opposite of that. So I knew that I had to let go of it, but it was really hard to do so, and I kept going back and he kept coming back. And I feel like 6 months leading up to this point was me trying to slowly separate myself from it so that it wasn't just this like ripping the band-aid off process process that was like scary and painful. And when I had got to this point, yes, it was really scary and still painful. I was still very much attached to him and the relationship, and I didn't want to let go of it, but at the same time, I was ready. And I allowed it to dissolve, I allowed it to separate, and I allowed myself to heal, and I allowed myself to come back to myself. So I had let go of something that was bringing me down, so that way I could bring myself up. I say all that to say that the process of letting go of something, even when you know it is not meant for you and it's not good for you anymore, can still be really freaking difficult. Even when you know the relationship, the situation, the job, the this, the that is going nowhere for you except down, it can still be really hard to let go of it. But I want to share with you the process that I use to help me let go of things that I don't want to let go of, because it can be so difficult. Even for me, when it comes to something so small as letting go of an old t-shirt from high school, it's because I attach all these emotions and memories and feelings to the t-shirt, so it becomes very nostalgic for me, and it feels like, oh my gosh, I am losing a piece of myself by getting rid of this t-shirt, when in reality it's like, well, it's just a t-shirt. So that can be the same thing when it comes to a relationship or a job. I feel like more so than necessarily a t-shirt, but when it's the last thing you have left of your youth in high school, it's like, oh my god, I just put so much weight on this t-shirt that's just a t-shirt. So we do that too with people and our identities, but when we realize that that's not who we truly are at our core, it's just memories and moments in our lives that we're experiencing, things we enjoyed, things we didn't enjoy, things we took on as our personality, but it's not who we are, then it can be easier to let go of it when we separate who we truly are from just the experience of living life as a person. But the way I like to start my process is I like to zoom all the way out and see myself and all the potential realities that could come if I let go of this thing that I need to let go of. So when it came to my relationship, the thing that allowed me to feel more okay letting go than staying in it was when I would zoom out and I would be like, okay, picture yourself a year from now. If you stay with this person, you can't follow this dream, you can't follow that dream, you won't have time for this, you're going to be emotionally drained because of the constant fighting, you're not going to have space in your life to do this, this, and this. So what would happen if you did have that space and you didn't have somebody telling you, no, Julia, you can't do this, Julia, that's not whatever, you know? So I did that. I took myself and I was like, oh, well, I could do my content, I could post whatever I want without fear of somebody being upset with me, I could promote my swimwear however I like without the fear of somebody telling me that I can't wear bikinis online because that's disrespectful to who. I reminded myself of all of the things that I could gain if I let go of this relationship. And so that helped me to realize, okay, yeah, it's gonna be painful in the short term, but in the long term, I'm gonna gain so much more. So think of all the things, by not letting go, you are stopping yourself from receiving, achieving, becoming, whatever. And there's gonna be more than you think. And some of the things you think might not even be the things you end up receiving, but it might be even better. Keep watching till the end because I'll tell you all the amazing things that I ended up achieving, receiving, becoming because I let go of that relationship. Next, think about how would your life be without whatever it is you need to let go of. So let's say I'm actually in the process of letting go of like half my closet because I realized there's so many clothes in there that I don't wear but I'm like emotionally attached to for whatever reason. I'm like, oh, but maybe I will wear this. Oh, but maybe this will fit me. Oh, but maybe what if I one day decide I want to wear pink pants? There's all these things that come up in my mind, but if I were to think about how would my life be if I didn't have all this extra stuff weighing me down? Well, then there's gonna be more space in my closet for potential new clothes that might be cuter. There's gonna be all this space in my closet so I could actually see what is in my closet and pick out clothes more seamlessly and less stressed because of all the clutter, and clutter stresses me out and my closet is cluttered. So I would get to have a clutter-free closet. It would look more aesthetic. It would be easier for me to pick out what I want to wear in the morning, and I would feel like there's a weight lifted off my shoulders. I would feel like when I move, I can take all the clothes I have with me and it's not going to be so overwhelming. It's not going to be so much. I'll be able to fit it in whatever closet I get to move into, and it'll be more cohesive and still not cluttered because I minimalized it down to what I really want and what I really am going to wear. So that's how my life would be if my closet was decluttered, and that in and of itself is very motivating to get me to want to actually let go of the clothes that I feel an emotional attachment to, that I'm I'm probably not gonna wear. Next is, what step can you take to move a little closer to letting go? So in the closet example, what I have been doing, because I find it super overwhelming to just pick a day and start getting rid of everything, is to get rid of a little bit at a time. So each day I go into my closet and pick no less than 3 things that I'm ready to let go of. I can pick more. I can, if I'm feeling inspired, I can go and get like 15 things if I really want to, or I can just keep going and end up cleaning out the whole closet if I'm feeling that inspired. But that's not the point. The point is just to get my booty in there and remove a few things, because if I do that consistently every day, every other day for the next few months, by the time I'm ready to move, my closet will be decluttered. And yeah, sometimes it's nice to do something all at once, or to cut something cold turkey and get rid of it cold turkey, but sometimes we can't, and sometimes it's more uncomfortable and more painful for us to do that. So if we're in a place where we just can't do that, and we can't be like, bye, then doing a little bit at a time can be very helpful. Like the example of my ex, we slowly tried to distance ourselves and our lives a little bit at a time. At least I consciously did so a little bit at a time, until, you know, it's 6 months down the line and I could spend a month without him. I can go a month without talking to him. I can go a few weeks without talking, whatever it is, you know? And that helped me feel confident in myself to be like, okay, I can let this person fully go. Now, with my ex, maybe it wasn't the most healthy letting go process, but I did implement the slowly letting go factor. You can do this with letting go of a bad habit. So let's say you have a habit of eating a lot of sugar. You could slowly start to cut back on your sugar until you get to the point where you realize you're barely eating sugar at all, by slowly cutting back each day. So let's say you have dessert with every meal. Well, then you switch it to dessert after dinner only. And then from there, you switch it to dessert a few times a week, like twice a week. Then you switch it to dessert once a week, until you get to the point where you feel like, okay, this is healthy for me. Maybe it's just switching from like very sugary processed desserts into a more healthy dessert like fruit or cacao with something. You know, whatever works for you, but just implementing the changes slowly over time so that you can actually build a concrete foundation for yourself and make lasting changes. My camera died, so I had to switch out the battery. But as I was saying, sometimes you gotta let go slowly over time, and then there's times when you just have to go cold turkey and let go right then and there. I have experienced both going cold turkey as well as slowly letting go, like I said in the examples before. So an example of me basically quitting something cold turkey or letting go of something cold turkey was when I decided to let go of my eating disorder and heal. It was all of like 24 hours. I decided I'm gonna just eat everything and I'm gonna deal with the consequences and figure out how to heal from this, but I need to make sure that I eat. So obviously the healing process wasn't overnight, but the process of me deciding I'm just gonna eat everything happened overnight. And then in that same week, I also decided, you know what? I'm also gonna go vegan right now too. And the vegan process took me a week. So it wasn't like completely overnight, but I was already vegetarian to start, so going vegan wasn't like that difficult, to be honest. But I did have to stop eating eggs and dairy. That was a pretty quick cold turkey moment where I was like, I'm gonna let go of the eggs and dairy, and I never went back. But I also will say I did live in a place, LA, where it was very easy to be vegan, and I think by going vegan at the same time that I was recovering from my eating disorder gave me something to focus the energy of minimizing my food into what is vegan that I can eat. So I think they kind of went together, but it was a very quick process of letting go of what wasn't working and adapting something that has worked for me. And I haven't gone back to my eating disorder ever since, and I haven't gone back to vegetarian ever since. So it's been 7 years, and that ended up working out for me. So there are examples where if you do let go of something cold turkey and adapt something better that does work for you, it can be very fast and instant, but it's not always the case. Another example where I let go of something cold turkey and never went back was over the winter when me and my mom went to LA. I got rid of basically everything that I didn't want to keep from my storage unit and shipped off everything that I did want to keep. And that was a situation where it was over the span of 4 to 5 days, but I had to let go of everything right then and there because that was the amount of time that we had with the trip, and there was no renewing my storage unit after that. So it was like, okay, you got to do this, and you got to do this right now. You got to let go. And obviously I couldn't go back, but there were a few things that I realized I forgot, and it is what it is. I had to just accept that and let go because stuff is stuff and I can always accumulate new things that might be even better. So that is the process that I use to let go of literally anything. And obviously some things are easier to let go of than other things, like a relationship or a career or something more life encompassing can be a lot harder to let go of than, say, some old clothes, but you can still use the same process on both. And after letting go of my relationship, I really had no idea where it was going to be this day, August 1st, 2023, but I did have hopes that I would be in a better place than I was back then. And when I truly think about it, I am, and I've gotten to accomplish so many things that I would not have been able to do if I would have stayed in that relationship, because I would have wanted to avoid conflict and not upset my ex by doing the things that I wanted to do for myself that he wasn't aligned with. And one of those things was he never ever wanted to be involved with anything social media that just wasn't compatible with what he wanted for himself. And me being on social media, that being my main source of income, my main source of career, basically, just didn't line up with that. And so whenever I was with him, I couldn't post anything. Any pictures I took had to just be memories for me. I couldn't post with him. I couldn't post what we were doing. He wasn't okay with it, and I didn't want to create more conflict because whenever I did post, he would get upset, and it was just a whole thing. Ironically, the only social media he had was Snapchat, and ironically, the social media platform that I am posting on daily and that I've really started to rebuild my career with is Snapchat. I post daily on Snapchat, and I heard somewhere, it was from a YouTuber, I forget the exact quote, but it was something like, God will build us up in front of the people that broke us down. And we don't have each other on Snapchat, but the amount of times that my stories are on the Explore page, it is bound to cross his feed at some point, and that's the only social media that he really lives on. I have no idea if he has seen any of my snaps or not, and truly it doesn't matter, but I just find that so ironic that the one social media that my ex had is the one social media that I am really, really growing on right now. Another thing that I gained was uploading on here consistently. I haven't uploaded on YouTube this consistent since probably 2017, like that long ago. And although my views are not what they were, I'm still so proud of myself that I've been so consistent with my work and the things that I want to put out in the world. I've posted on YouTube every week for more than 6 months since New Year's, and I've posted on Snapchat every day since December of 2022. I wouldn't have been able to do either of those things if I had stayed in that relationship. I wouldn't have had the energetic capacity to do so, and my ex would not have been okay with me doing these things. There would have been a conflict every single time I posted. There was a conflict almost every single time I posted anything, so there's no way I would have been able to do this to this capacity if I stayed in that relationship. I also ended up selling a bunch of my swimwear, which I was able to sell some when I was with him, but it was always an on and off thing where he would get upset because I was posting pictures of me wearing the swimwear, and he had decided halfway through the relationship, after I had already created my swimwear brand, that it wasn't okay for me to be posting pictures in bikinis. That's another conversation for another day, but if I had stayed in that relationship, I would have felt so guilty every time I promoted my swimwear, to the point where I wouldn't have promoted it, which happened so many times while I was in the relationship. And now whenever I promote my swimwear, I don't think twice about that. I'm just happy that I get to wear the bikinis that I created and post them for you guys to shop. And on August 1st, 2022, I had no idea that I would be sitting here today filming this video for you, telling you about all of the things that I was able to bring into my life once I let go of the things that were bringing me down in my life. So I hope that me sharing this with you can help inspire and motivate you to let go of what you need to let go of to bring you to a higher place, a happier place, a better life for yourself and the people you care most about. And I will see you all in my next video next week. I love you so much. Bye!